There are only two things you have to know about Pranay Parekh. First, that he's an incredibly good storyteller. And second, and more importantly, he is my older brother. Growing up with him was no easy task. If I can put this in the simplest possible manner, I'm a cat and he is a dog. I like staying by myself, doing what I like. I love the couch. I'm moody, I'm stubborn, I'm arrogant. I secretly seek a lot of attention and I need a lot of food. He, on the other hand, he just has to follow me around. He has to be on the couch if I'm on it. He's energetic, he's lively, he constantly wants to kiss, touch, lick, cuddle, not necessarily in the same order. And he always wants to give me the attention I don't want. Our fights seemed endless unless something in the house broke or our screams crossed the boundaries of the four walls. Come to think of it, we were more like a cat and a mouse. More like Tom and Jerry. We would always be running around the house, throwing, smashing whatever came in our way. To our parents and neighbors, doors banging, windows rattling, all this was a common phenomenon, almost routine. Leaving us home alone was a chance my parents had to make and they dreaded it all the time. We spent most of our childhood on a ring, like the ones you watch in WWE. And most of our fights and our daily procedures, started the same way.
You stand right in front of it.
Yeah. So everything took place in the same manner. It would start with a big grand entry and some background music. Then there would be verbal abuses. Then there would be intended instigation. You did this, I did that. There would be a loud, encouraging audience, and bang, the fight was on. The only imaginary thing in our fight was the audience. It was a well-orchestrated craftsmanship. I can still clearly remember one of our fights. I was sitting in the hall, comfortably racing around, and my brother decided to come in and give me a body slam. And I forgot to mention, my brother was big. He was 130 kgs at that time. But somehow, this never seemed to bother him. He thought he was too cool. If Guinness ever held a world record for the maximum number of body slams, my brother would come out as an undisputable winner. Once he was done spotting me lying lazily in a corner, he decided to do something even more nasty. He broke into a dolphin dive. Splash! And I was crushed under the weight of this huge body mass. He then picked me up and then he slammed me down. I don't know what joy he gained out of, troubling me all the time and why it was so irresistible for him to see me comfortable. But his urge didn't stop there. Immediately after he was done throwing me around, he started hugging and cuddling. And for all those people here who have siblings, you understand of this one unspoken rule between them. And I call it unspoken because it is written all over the face in big bold letters, do not touch. I was so upset. I threw him off me and our chase began. His room, my room, dining hall, living area, we threw things at each other, balcony, screaming, shouting. We were all over the place. This went on for a few tiring moments, after which he ran behind his door and he took refuge behind it. And I was standing outside kicking it ferociously. Open the door, you jerk, you're a coward. You always go hide behind your door. Why can't you leave me alone? Today, I'm going to get you and you're so dead. You wish. First come and get me, was what he said every single time. Most of our fights occurred pretty much in the same fashion, only our weapons upgraded. We were living life a Mortal Kombat size. Every day we would plan and plot and strategize. And trust me, waging a war is no easy task. You need to put all of your body part to good use. Over the years, however, our alliance changed and we soon became friends from foes, like most siblings do. I confided in him like I would with my parents or my best friends. He on the other side, he became my mentor, my guide. He kept me through, pushing me whenever there was something really hard coming my way. But at the same time, he made sure I stay safe and protected. No longer had he to trespass my walls because now there weren't any. I used to, lay down my heart in an open field and he had access to it 24/7. Our universe had finally changed course. Mine revolved around his, and his existed exclusively for me. Understanding pranay requires one to have certain kind of skills, okay? And patience is the most important one. There have been days when he would stay locked up in the room and he would, try and learn new softwares, or he would make videos almost without eating or drinking or sleeping. On other times, he would watch a single movie for weeks together, only so he could understand the intricacies involved in, directing or creating a particular shot. Why did that bother me so much? He didn't do any of that alone. I still remember the last time he was watching 2001 A Space Odyssey, and I had to watch that with him for 2 weeks straight. In 2009, he made Kalki, a short film predicting the Third World War and how nuclear warfare would lead to the end of the world, and how a new age Krishna would come and save it. Wild in his ideas, he finally laid the foundation for his one long-standing dream, the dream to become the best filmmaker of all time. He was to leave to Ahmedabad the same year to study a course in advertising. Few days before his departure, we had another fight, and this one left a mark, a scar, literally. Me and my cousins were having breakfast on the dining table when suddenly my brother walks in looking rather stern. The heat seemed to be catching up. I don't quite remember what our argument began over, but in no time he was screaming at the top of his voice. "You don't value me one bit, do you? Have you ever said I love you to me? Do you even care about my feelings? You're an arrogant brat. Wait till I'm gone. You'll realize my value when you don't have me around you anymore." That'd be peaceful, I just laughed. I was laughing at the sheer stupidity of the conversation. Nothing can be more entertaining than having an edgy brother on a bright Sunday morning. He didn't seem to find that funny though. In no time, his grip over the remote hardened, and before he or I could control anything, he threw it with full swing and full force. It hit against the table and it rebounded towards me. It slapped me tight on my mouth and it slit my lower lip a good 1 inch. Time had stopped. I was bleeding heavily. I ran towards the loo, staining the floor on the way. He ran after me. "I'm so sorry. Are you okay?" As I was cleaning up, he caught a glimpse of my face in the mirror, and it crushed him to know what he'd done to his little sister. He hugged me and he wept. I'm so sorry. You're my baby, my little sister. How could I hurt you?" I had never seen that side of him in 17 years of my life. Him in his most vulnerable moment. The pain in his eyes put the scar on my lips to shame. He ran in his room and he imprisoned himself. It took me a while to clean up, but just as I was walking out of the bathroom, my dad walked in. He looked at me and he was like, "What happened?" I just smiled and I said, "Oh, nothing, a basketball hit me." And then he looked back and he said, "Oh, that must have been a big basketball." Our alliance had been sealed. It had been 2 months since he left for Ahmedabad, and I missed him dearly. But as all siblings are, it's hard to confront your sibling and say, "Oh, I miss you." So I should just be a jerk and I'd be like, "Oh, I'm glad you're away." After 17 years of constant annoyance, 2 years of peaceful existence in the house was like haunting. I was like, what do I do with my life? He's not at home. I wanted him to come, and more so because Raksha Bandhan was around the corner. But convincing him, that was the hardest task. In India, somehow, celebrations are always accompanied by business deals. Mine and his was cracked over in exchange of a new laptop. Early noon, On the 2nd of August, in our Bangalore house, me and my parents, we sat around the dining table discussing my brother's arrival. Me and my mom were creating a menu with all his favorite dishes, and my dad, he was on the phone with my granddad, and he was talking to him about, oh, he's going to come home at this so-and-so time. We were acting like he'd not come home in years, and that we were seeing him after so long. I guess to us, it felt like that. That was the first time he was away for so long. Just as we were talking, the landline rang. Hello? Yes, speaking. Hello, sir. What? What happened? We were still. Who's it? My mom asked, looking at my dad's pale face. I'll be there right away. Pranay is admitted to the hospital. They've said he developed a breathing problem in his sleep. My mom started to ask another question, but was cut off by another phone call. Hello? I don't quite understand, sir. What is all this fuss about? After a brief pause, be honest to me. Is he? Is he still alive? My father's question was answered by silence on the other side. I'll never forget my mother's screams from that morning. She's howling like a wounded animal. I spent the rest of that day either taking or receiving phone calls, trying to tell people what had happened. Each conversation felt like a stab in my chest. And there are some situations in life where you have no choice but to keep taking the blow over and over and over again. The same evening, we flew to Mumbai to receive his body. My aunt had gotten special permission for us so he could be flown in a passenger plane's cargo. The thought of him flying down to us in a passenger plane's cargo, it made us shudder. Outside the airport, my entire family assembled to, receive him and wait his arrival. Even those people we hadn't seen in years. All were scattered in small little groups and were hugging each other and mourning the loss of the firstborn in the family. It is hard to put into words what went through each of our minds that evening. For there is no bigger, harder blow in life, a harsher reality, than seeing your lineage lie lifeless in a cold coffin. We took him home to finish the last rituals. Before they sealed the coffin, I decided to tie him Rakhi, the last one I'd saved for him. His hands were frozen and hard, like stone. I ignored them in vain. That night, after we put all our elders to sleep, me, my cousins and our friends, we got together and we made a circle around him and we held hands and we laughed. We laughed at every single memory we had spent with him, recollecting stories and telling each other of how great a time we had. He finally got a farewell the way he deserved to get. As my lips shook uncontrollably, the scar that he left behind from a previous fight, it showed bigger than ever. And with it came a promise to stand by me no matter what. Well, after all, Raksha Bandhan is never complete without a gift, is it? His death changed me in ways I cannot fully explain, but I'm going to give it my best shot. For some, death is like a rug pulled out from suddenly beneath them and they're left to navigate or wander through whatever is left behind. For me, ironically, his death brought me back to life. I realized that the only single truth about life is that it is full of uncertainties and it's temporary, and that I might not even be alive the next moment. And so, I did what I wanted to do for a long time. I opened up my heart to every single opportunity that came my way. And I started doing things that I hadn't even in my wildest dreams thought of, or rather was too afraid to put into action. From being a passive and a cold cat, I now became a cat dog. A perfect blend of him and me, not just in the way we were, but in terms of energy, in terms of loyalty, in terms of friendship, in terms of everything. I felt him in me all the time. I believe Pranay's body left his only to find a new home in mine. And I know it sounds crazy to put this into words, but I love him now even more, much more than I loved him before. He's around me all the time, always communicating to me in my dreams or through some signs or the other. I see him whenever I want to, and most importantly, I see him when I need him the most. There's this one thing about love, that it transcends all boundaries. It certainly does. For me and him, it definitely did. We're born and we'll die, and this is certain, the only certainty about life. What story we write in between is our own. It is, after all, the journey that matters and not the destination. Thank you.